Hi guys, it's Ross at FoodTravelMusicLove.com, inspiration from the heart. This is one of our Tripadvisor reviews. Today we went to the Elephant Village, Pattaya, Thailand. As always, let's start off with location and access. What I tend to do now when I talk about locations of places that are over in places like this, like in Thailand, where road names, etc. can be pronounced very differently person to person. If you don't speak fluent Thai, I don't speak fluent Thai, so I'm going to describe roughly where the place is for you. The main thing is, when I do that, I tend to do that when there are places that do show up on Google or do show up on Bolt, etc. And this place does. It's a very, very popular tourist attraction in the area. This place is over on the dark side of Pattaya, so around a 15-20 minute drive, maybe a bit quicker on bike, but 15-20 minute drive by Bolt taxi, or if you're driving from kind of central Pattaya, from Pattaya Thai, from the main South Pattaya road, about 15-20 minutes. Like I said, it does show up on the Bolt app. That's a really, really good sign. It's easier then than trying to kind of communicate. If they don't speak English, you don't speak Thai, it's very, very tough. So the Bolt app does all the work for you. You could incorporate this visit over to the Elephant Village generally with a visit to the dark side if it's an area that you haven't been before. Lots of nice eateries, restaurants, etc., bars over that way. Things that I didn't know about. There's a great little smoked meats business up there, but they've got a shop you can go in and get big Smoky Mountain foods. Just give them a little plug while I'm doing this, because it's again only about 5 or 10 minutes away from there. But lots on the dark side that I didn't know about. If you're new to the area, then you might not know about that area, and you just stay within the bright lights, as they call it here, all down in the main central area. If you live over here, if you're a regular over here, you'll just be like, what are you talking about? I always go to the dark side. Fair dues. This is specifically about the Elephant Village. Elephant Village location, 15 to 20 minutes away from Central by taxi or by bike. Parking there is absolutely free. Plenty of places to park. They've got like a parking warden there that helps you out as to where to park, whether you're going by bike or whether you're going by car. As far as I'm aware, parking is free, by the way. I'll come on to costs, etc. in a moment, but there is parking there. There's road parking outside otherwise, so I don't think there's any problem whatsoever. It doesn't seem to be that sort of area around here in Pattaya where you have to worry too much about where you park. If you've got bikes, etc., you can tend to park where you want. Just keep a lookout for signage. If you don't read or speak Thai, that's a little bit awkward. Access in terms of accessibility, it's a typical kind of Thai tourist attraction that I've seen here. So uneven in lots of places, not necessarily disabled friendly in that regard. That's just fairly common. There's not really much else to say there. So fairly uneven ground around the area. So just be a little bit aware of that if you are, sort of a bit dodgy on your feet. There's lots of paving slabs, etc., and bits of. Just be careful. Just be careful. Let's move on to facilities and services. They do have on-site toilets there. When I was there was none of this 5 or 10 baht situation. On-site toilets, relatively clean for what is essentially like a zoo. So relatively clean toilets, good sign there. Lots and lots of fans going, which was quite nice. When you're sat in the outdoor areas, fans going in the cafes, in some of the outdoor bits just next to the seated area for where they have the show, next to the lake there were fans, so that's quite nice actually. You don't tend to always get that when you're outdoors. If you're outdoors you just soak up the sun. It's a jungle environment, kind of a man-made jungle environment there, and it was very humid. It's a typical jungle feeling. It's very, very warm, very sweaty. So the fans are a welcome bonus, definitely. They have got a very, very small cafe set up there. I'll come on to that in a moment, reference food and drink, but they have got a small cafe set up there. That's like a little ice box. That's like lovely, lovely aircon in there. Very, very busy with everyone getting in there, getting the aircon. So that's nice. They have got aircon in there. I think a little bit of aircon in the reception area as well. Wi-Fi, they didn't have across the site. Wi-Fi you could access in the main reception area only. So if you did need to do anything on your phone and you just only have access to Wi-Fi, you don't want to use your data, you don't have access to data, etc. Wi-Fi in the reception area, nowhere else on the site. Based on the information I was given, somebody might say, no, you can't log into this, log into that, but there was no Wi-Fi that I could access anywhere else. I had a couple of work bits to do, so that was a bit of an issue for me, having to walk right back to reception to try and access it. I'm sure for 80 or 90% of people, Wi-Fi is not an issue because they'll either have SIM with data or they're just going to be there enjoying the elephants rather than going on their phone. So when we do a tourist attraction review, within the facilities and services, we basically then talk about the actual attraction itself. Absolutely fantastic place, really fantastic place. Obviously elephants there in abundance. I think I saw, they're quite hard to differentiate one from the other, I will say that, but it looks like I saw about 7 or 8 different elephants there, at least. They've got also like a kind of just a little mini zoo set up. I don't know whether that's just to pad it out or whether there's any reason for the other animals there, but they've got rabbits, they had sort of goats, I think possibly llamas, they had snakes, etc. and things for the show, a couple of big cows there, some little various monkeys or apes. So nice little setup. Bit arbitrary, I suppose, having these other bits there, but I quite like that. I quite like that little setup there. You know, it's Asia rather than Europe, so the kind of little cables that they're on that keep them in there are a little bit different to what you're used to if you're back in the West. Absolutely fine though. I'm not going to comment on the treatment of the animals and anything like that and how well they're looked after. I don't know about that. I'm purely doing this review based on the attraction. I didn't ride on one of the elephants. That's one of the facilities that's available, one of the services available. You can ride the elephants for an extra 300 or 400 baht. You can get an elephant ride, and as you can see, it's very pretty. They take you down through the lake. Now, I don't know how to think about that myself, really, morally, etc. You know, the elephants are obviously very large animals. Do they even feel 2 or 3 people on their body? Probably not. I wasn't comfortable doing it. I didn't decide to do that or get any shots of me on the elephant because it's just not something I'm that comfortable with. But each their own. I'm sure it's absolutely fine. I'm just basically explaining what's available there at the tourist attraction. You can have photos and just go and sit on an elephant and have photos with them as well. You know, the guys that are riding elephants there, they're quite happy to charge for photos. Of course they are. You're not hassled. The things I can compare to are like a completely different culture, but like if you're someone like in Egypt or Tunisia, places like that in Africa, for example, I sense a lot of hassle there to come and do this, you know, no small price to come and have the rides and do. There's literally nobody asked. I mean, I was there doing this filming, nobody even mentioned anything, so it's fine. So you don't get that sort of hassle there. So you've got the photo opportunities, you can just sit and chill and watch the elephants just going by and watch other people enjoy the little rides there. It's a beautiful setting, really nice and chill, just sat there next to the lake. It's a lovely place to just sit and have a drink, have a little bite to eat. Absolutely beautiful place. I really enjoyed it for that. You then obviously got the other animals, like I mentioned, that you can have a little walk round. You've got some other little random kind of statues and bits and pieces there as well, and just a little pretty area to have a little walk around. It's not a very large site at all. I'd imagine it's only like just a few acres. It's not a large site, but it's a nice, pretty site, and you've got the little lake there. I really like that. You've then got the actual show as well that they put on. They do put a show on, which is all kind of free and included as part of it, part of the experience. That's on, I believe, numerous times throughout the day. We went to a 5 o'clock show, and basically here's a little sample of it. It started to get a little bit dark then. It was quite a nice time to do it actually, going at the 5 o'clock show, because then you get the lighting, the backdrop. I think that was quite a nice time to do that. The show is a real added bonus, to be honest. Nothing too fancy going on with the animals or anything. There's some parrots there. Obviously you can see that they sort of they let off and then they fly back to you, and there's snakes that they put round people's necks and all that sort of thing. I mean, that wasn't for me. I'm glad I was sat where I was filming and not down in the front having a snake around my neck. Get away from me now. But very professional show, definitely. Be a little bit careful if you're dodgy on your feet. Back to the location and access section really, but it's the Far East. You don't have handrails etc. like we would in the West, so you need to be a little bit careful. Anything like that, if you fall over, well, you shouldn't be there then, should you? So just be a little bit careful of that if you're turning up there and you're a little bit uneasy on your pins. I do a little small section on food and drink. I made a bit of an error because I looked at the menu. Drinks etc. are quite expensive, certainly compared to if you're comparing to street food, even if you're comparing to restaurants. Typical tourist attraction, it's the same anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter whether you're in Thailand, whether you're in England, whether you're in Germany. The tourist attraction prices are always hiked up, and there's a reason I'll come on to probably why they do hike their prices up there at this particular attraction. So for me, I paid my 400 baht to get in, and I forgot actually that you get a little voucher for a free drink in the cafe. So I was quite annoyed because I just took a bottle of water and had that, because the drinks were about 120 just for a soda and some flavour. If you wanted smoothies etc. about 140. So when you actually think about the fact that they're giving you a free drink, it actually makes the entrance fee seem more more value for money, or it seems like the drinks aren't actually that expensive, whichever way you look at it. I came back and I forgot and found the voucher in my pocket. A little bit annoying. So you do get a free drink with it, but the food and drink options, I didn't actually try any other food and drink. They had a nice few cakes there. Lots of people were tucking into the cakes. They looked like good quality. I didn't try it. I always do a little section on food and drink and just mention it, but there's not really much there I can review in terms of the quality etc. I can only see the prices. The person I was there with, he did have a soda and an ice and flavour and strawberry or something. I think he did say it was very nice. So from what I can tell, the amount of people that were buying stuff that may well be regulars, they seem to be enjoying it. I did find it quite odd actually, in a certain way, that it was the Mong Chang Cafe show rather than actually to do with the elephants, not the Elephant Village show or anything like that. I mean, they literally wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the elephants. But it's about the Mong Chang Cafe. That seems to be the main kind of primary setup. That's like the main focal point, if you like, for everything. And the elephants kind of walk around the cafe rather than the cafe existed because of the elephants. Little section on value for money, basically before we get to the official rating. Now, value for money, I paid 400 baht to get into this place. Now, first off, I actually considered that to be fairly pricey. 400 baht. I did forget about this little free drink voucher, like I said, so there's no value on there, so I'm sure they will cap it. But the drinks were like 140, 150 baht, so straight away you've got the best part of 40% off your ticket coming back in a drink. And unless you're going to take your own drinks, you do need a drink there. It's a very warm place. So taking that into account as well, 400 baht as an entrance probably isn't actually that bad. Couple of little caveats to this. If you're a Thai resident local, you get it for free. So it's actually a free attraction basically. It's only chargeable for tourists. So if you've got, if you're an expat and you live over here, my friend who I was with, he got in for free because I think all he had to show was his driving licence, just to show that he lived local, or that basically he wasn't just a tourist. It's essentially a tourist tax, I suppose, for visiting the site. I don't know how they're funded otherwise then, whether it's a government funded operation there. I'm not sure quite about any of that. I'm going to base this whole thing, on this whole review, on me as a tourist visiting the place for 400 baht. Now obviously value for money again adds so much to context to any review. Somebody reviewing this place, if they're getting in for free, they'll have a totally different mindset on it, a totally different kind of viewpoint. I'm going to review this as a 400 baht paying tourist customer. Looking at everything then, I really enjoyed the visit there. I really did enjoy the visit. Definitely well worth a visit. Very little I can say that's negative. No Wi-Fi around the site. Okay, who cares really? You're there to see the elephants, you know, you're there to see the animals and enjoy the experience of where you're at. Average visit time I would guess would be a couple of hours. The show itself is half an hour to 40 minutes. So that's what I would estimate. You could go for a bit longer. There could be some hidden depths of other areas that I didn't find, but based on the signage, based on what was around that I could see, a couple of hours is probably fine. Maybe 3 hours if you want to chill out and have a drink. I don't think there's any time limit in the amount of time once you pay to go in that you can be there. You could probably stay and watch multiple shows if you like. The shows I think are the same throughout the day. They do have a separate show area. I must admit I didn't notice what was going on there. They have a separate show area indoors. I didn't see any shows going on there, but there is a separate show area. I'll be interested if anyone wants to comment on what the other show is, or maybe they use that as a kind of an all-weather situation, so if it's not great outside they'll do it indoors. I don't know how the elephants were getting there because it was a slightly different setup, but so it might be a different sort of show that goes on there. Maybe that's for separate kind of seasonal events. Based on the experience I had, really, it was a fantastic day. I really enjoyed it. Very little I can say that's particularly negative about it, based on my personal experience, based on what we've worked at with other tourist attractions in similar areas. We will give this an official FoodTravelMusicLove.com rating of 9 out of 10. That's absolutely fantastic from the Elephant Village Pattaya. Well done. That's equivalent to a Tripadvisor 5 out of 5. 5-star rating on Tripadvisor, 9 out of 10 with FoodTravelMusicLove.com. I really hope you enjoyed watching that. We've got lots of other Tripadvisor reviews in the area, across the world, other places. Please do check out our site. Please like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you'd like to do. As long as it's nice, please. I'm trying my best. Ross, FoodTravelMusicLove.com, inspiration from the heart. Thank you.